Hey, what is good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the very first episode of How Not to Play Super Smash Bros. If you are watching this, I'm assuming that you have been playing Super Smash Bros. For a while and don't know what the fuck is happening, so you need some help. Or you're probably playing Super Smash Bros. For the very first time and need a nice starting place. And if that's the case, let me be the first to welcome you to the Super Smash Bros. Community. You couldn't have picked a worse fighting game community to join. But amongst the toxicity and negativity, there are plenty of gems to be found in this community. But unfortunately for you, you have stumbled upon my channel, which means you have made the wrong turn. You fucked up. But you might be able to still pull some valuable information. This series is to show how not to play Super Smash Bros. But before we get into whatever the fuck it is that you're doing, let's try to at least teach you the basics. The goal of Super Smash Bros. Is to knock your opponent off the ring, and to do this, you'll need to combine various attacks and techniques to best your opponent. At the beginning of every match, you'll be left off in the standing position. Don't touch that GameCube controller. In this position, you're going to need to be aware of your front and your back, as a lot of your attacks will depend on whether you are front-facing or back-facing your opponent. Now, you'll also have the ability to crouch. Crouching is simply holding your analog stick downwards. That will put you in a crouching state. You can also jump by actually flicking your analog stick in the upward motion, or if you have tap jump off, you can also hit the X or the Y button. Whichever your preferred method of jumping is, if you quickly input it, you'll perform what is known as a short hop, which is pretty much self-explanatory. It's a short hop. Now, by pressing and holding your jumping input, this will cause your character to perform a full hop. And once again, Monica, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's your character fully jumping off the ground. Once airborne, you may tap the jump button once again to perform what is known as a double jump. Every character has at least one jump in the air. Certain characters have multiple jumps, so make sure you try out and see how many jumps your character of preference may have. Now, of course, you're going to want to be able to move around onto the field. In order to do that, you're going to need to know the movement options. One of the most simplest ways to move around is to walk. Walking is simply done by tilting the control stick left or right. You'll still have all the abilities you did already have standing still, just that you're moving this time. And before we get hasty, I think it's safe for us to crawl before we walk. And speaking of crawling, certain characters have the ability to crawl. Simply by tilting downward and angling the direction that you wish to crawl, certain characters might be able to have a low-profile movement state that may be able to dodge many attacks. Now, of course, crawling and walking just won't cut it sometimes. Sometimes you need to reach a certain position in a pinch, and thus, we have the running option. Every character in Smash Bros. Can run, some faster than others. By simply smashing your analog stick left or right, your character will enter this state. But we're not doing no goddamn obstacle course, my nigga. Who gives a fuck about running, crawling, and walking? We want to get to the good shit. Let's talk about basic attacks. First of all, every character has a basic jab attack. Certain characters might have a singular jab, while others might lead right into a jab string. By simply tapping the A button, you can do either of those. Of course, tapping the button and holding the button might give you different results. And while jabs may seem nice, sometimes jabs just won't get the job done. And thus, we have tilt attacks. Every character has the ability to tilt in a multiple directions. Upwards, downwards, and forwards. And if you're tilting forward, you might have the select unique ability to angle your forward tilt ever so upward or ever so downward. Play around with your character to see just how exactly their tilts may vary. And you're not just limited to attacking on the ground. When airborne, you'll have the ability to angle your attacks upwards, downwards, backwards, forward, or if you're not holding the analog stick in any direction, you may do a neutral aerial attack. It is also worth mentioning that while you are able to do a plethora of attacks while standing still and walking, running, however, will leave you a little bit more limited when it comes to attacks. You'll still be able to perform attacks like tilts and grabs, but when it comes to attacks, you're only limited to a dash attack. Dash attacks are really good when it comes down to hunting down your opponent, but upon throwing out a dash attack, you will be left vulnerable after you throw them out, so be wise when attacking out of dash. Pretty impressive, right? All these moves that you can use to kill your opponent. Think that's enough? Shut your dumb ass up, because we still have more moves to talk about, like smash attacks. As the name implies, by smashing the analog stick and holding the A button, you'll be able to charge up a powerful attack, whether it be forwards, upwards, and downward. Now, you should play around, because these are one of the most powerful attacks you may have in your arsenal. By charging up these moves, you can harness your character's power and deal more damage. The longer you hold, the more damage you'll do, and possibly the farther your opponent will fly. Hey, look at you go. You now have knowledge of light, medium, and heavy attacks. But your ass ain't special. Everybody has these abilities, and of course, you might find yourself on the receiving end of any of these attacks I've mentioned before. But of course, you have some options to protect yourself. One of the most faithful options when defending yourself will be your shield button. By holding down the left or the right trigger, you'll be able to protect yourself with a bubble, blocking just about every attack. But simply holding the shield button is not a get-out-of-jail-free card. As you block attacks over time, your shield will get smaller. And the smaller your shield gets, the more exposed your character's body will become to attacks. But you'll be able to angle your shield up around your body to block those attacks as it gets smaller. And if you keep it up at that rate, your shield will pop. And once it pops, you will be stunned. And in this state, you are pretty much a sitting duck for whatever attack your opponent wishes to hit you with. So, be careful with that shield button, but fret not, my friend. You still have other options, such as the rolling option. When shielding, you may flick your analog stick either left or right, and you'll perform an evasive maneuver to dodge any attack. Rolling, of course, has its own downsides as well. Your opponent may be able to attack you as you come out of your roll, so be careful with your spacing. And just like the shield button, rolling as well is not a get-out-of-jail-free card, as when you roll multiple times, you will become more vulnerable over time. So be smart about how you roll around the field. If you would like to dodge attacks while being stationary, well, you should try out the spot dodge feature. By holding your shield button and holding your analog stick downwards, your character will perform what is known as a spot dodge, quickly jolting down to avoid attack in quick pace. In addition to that, you will also have the ability to parry attacks. By releasing your shield button as your opponent attacks, you will perform a parry attack, which will give you an opening to punish your opponent. By using a combination of these defensive techniques, your father might have to think twice when he calls you an incompetent failure. If you're having a hard time dealing with opponents that love shielding, well, try out the grab attack. By grabbing, you'll be able to get up close and personal with your opponent. By mashing the A button, you'll perform what is known as a pummel. You'll be able to rack up damage fairly quickly in this state. But by flicking your control stick either upwards, downwards, forwards, or backwards, you'll perform a throw in either of these directions. And not all grabs are created equal. Certain characters might have more range when grabbing than others. These are known as tether grabs. Most characters with the tether grab ability will also be able to grab onto the ledge when recovering with these grabs. And while a grab can be performed by running or standing still, you can also perform a pivot grab by running in one direction and quickly flicking the other direction and holding Z. You'll be able to grab your opponent with extended range, catching them off guard. But what really makes a character unique is their special attacks. Every character has the ability to do an up special, a down special, a forward special, and a neutral special. These are the attacks that help to set apart each character from one another with their special abilities. Be sure to familiarize yourself with your character's special attacks, more specifically the up special, as these attacks will be very crucial when recovering back to the stage. And with that concludes our basic overview. Of course, there are still more techniques and attacks to go over, but we will go over them in later videos as they arise. This video here was mainly to help you get a basic understanding of all the terminology and basics found in Super Smash Bros. With these fundamentals set, we'll progress and build upon them in future videos. Once again, my niggas, like, comment, and subscribe, as we will be here in the same exact place, doing the same exact thing, and hopefully Hopefully, as these videos come out, you'll be able to get the confidence to look your parents in the eyes and prove to them that they did not regret the decision of nutting you into a napkin. From me on to you, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.